Hi, and welcome to this next session of College Reading 2. And what I'm here to talk about today are some different types of text structures. And so, for the last couple of weeks, we have been talking about different note taking strategies. At the very beginning of the semester, we talked about how to pre read, and then we went over some of those things that you would do while you were reading in terms of taking notes. And we talked about outlining and Cornell notes specifically. And what our focus will change for the next couple of weeks into what we would call text structure. And text structure is important because what it helps us to do is it helps our brain to organize information. And probably one of the most common types of text structures that you're going to see is that of sequence. And what sequence is it's chronological order. And so if you've read a book, a novel, magazine articles, all of those things are written in chronological sequence. And it just means that I've put things in order. And if you look at this very short paragraph, you can probably tell right away and very clearly what or why it counts as chronological. You can see some dates, which is a pretty good indication. We see 1937, 1954, 1977, 81, and then 1994. There's also other time words in here. We see things like not long after. At the top, we have for more than 50 years. So those are some key indicators that this is going to be sequential or in chronological order, time order. As we're looking at this, one of the things that we do want to make sure that we look at and that we understand is that it's not always written in chronological order. This, for the most part, is. When we look at it, 37, 54, 77, 81, and 94 are all in order. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. Sometimes they'll skip around to different years or different time periods, and that can be confusing. But again, it's just a way for our brain to kind of make sense of things. I'm going to pull up this article. All right, so this is the article that we're going to take a look at and that you'll be actually assigned to do some reading with this week. This is called Young, Alone, and Leaving Home, and it's about a young boy who leaves his family in Guatemala and ends up in the United States. Now, you can probably see that it's biological. It's a biography. It's about this young man's life, and so you would expect that it would be written in chronological order. And so he leaves in 2015. That's the first event. He leaves Guatemala. He has his 6 younger siblings, and then it goes on from there. No years, except you get down here, 2015, 2018. But there's really no years. And so the question that you'll want to ask yourself is, if there's not years, what happens in chronological order? So the question that you'll have to answer in writing is, what is this young boy's kind of sequence of things? How do things progress from one event to the next? And you'll see that not all of this information is about this young boy's life. They're talking about some very general statistics. So keep that in mind as you read as well. And he ends up, as you can see, in Oakland, California. So that's something that you might notice. And on a pre-read, if you're familiar with Guatemala or California, those might be some things that you understand. He's making $50 a day versus $7 a day. So obviously the financial impact was great for he and his family. And then some good things. He graduated from high school in June of 2018 and had plans to enroll in college. His successes, he's still homesick. So those are some of the things that we learn in doing a pre-read. After you read the article, you're going to do the activity like you always do. And then you're going to answer this thought question. And the thought question you're going to type out in an email and send that to me. But basically, who is Milton? Briefly describe the major events in Milton's life in chronological order. How might hearing about Milton's experiences impact other teens wanting to make a better life for themselves and their families? Use facts and details from the article in your response. So you're telling me who Milton is, what his major events are in terms of his life, and how can he impact other people. So that's 3 parts. Should be a pretty decent sized paragraph when you go ahead and write this article. All right, the other organization that we're going to look at for this class is cause and effect. So we just got finished talking about sequencing, and you'll read the article, Young, Alone, and Leaving Home, and do that. Read the article, take the quiz, and then write that thought question about chronological order. Another text organization is that of cause and effect. And what cause and effect is it's simply one thing happens to cause something else to happen. And so we can use the current situation that we're in. There was a market in China where a bat transmitted the disease COVID-19 to a human. That human, so the effect of that human then went on and infected lots of people in China. Another effect, those people in China then dispersed and went all over the country and all over the world. And so all of those effects, so eventually it came to the United States. Another effect is that it came to Iowa. Another effect, schools are closed because people don't want to spread the disease. And so those are all effects based on one cause, the start of this pandemic. But look at all those effects. It's kind of like a domino effect. That's one of the types of causes and effects you can have. Another cause and effect, it's raining outside. Cause, effect, I need to bring my umbrella. So cause and effect are those things that happen because of something else. And there are certain keywords that we'll see when you are looking at cause and effect, and I'll show you those in a second. We always want to talk about the why. So why do we need to understand and care about cause and effect in the first place? Much like sequencing, it's going to give your brain an organization. So when you're reading things, it's a comprehension strategy. So when I read a sentence of cause and effect, I can figure out that, oh, this happens because this happens. Those of you that are in science classes, history classes, cause and effect happens all the time. So-and-so was shot, World War II was begun. Cause, effect. And so it's important for us as we're reading to understand those things, because if it's a sequence of events or if it's a cause and effect situation, it helps our brain to kind of figure things out and comprehend. So there's a couple of patterns that can happen. We can have a single cause and a single effect. It's raining, cause 1, effect, I bring my umbrella. Flat tire, can't drive my car. I might have multiple causes leading to one single effect. And the example that's on this sheet is that I read the passages I'm assigned, I listen to my teacher, I study my exams, study for exams, I do my homework, I ask questions. All of those causes lead me to the effect that I get an A in the class. I can have a single cause with multiple effects. So because of this COVID pandemic, look at all the effects that have happened. There's health effects, there's economic effects, there's educational effects, and those effects have effects. And so that's one cause, COVID-19, and the multiple effects that result from that. And then I showed you the example of that domino effect. And so one thing just causes another, which causes another, which causes another, and all of a sudden, everything shut down. So that's the domino effect. All of those are considered cause and effect organization. Doesn't matter which one you have. They're all considered cause and effect organizations. So there will be certain keywords that are going to signal that you have a cause and effect. And those are listed here in this table. So if I use the word because, so because of the shooting of Archduke Ferdinand, World War II began. I have cause and I have effect. If I use words like effect or cause, that leads me to believe that I'm going to have a cause and effect relationship. Words like consequently, as a result, due to, again, all cause and effect words. In this paragraph, this is an example of a cause and effect paragraph. And what you'll notice is that there's a couple of sentences that lead us to this cause and effect relationship. Okay, so the first two, we'll take a quick look at that. When many years pass, objects from older civilizations are frequently covered up by vegetation or other buildings. Okay, so that's something that just happens. So when a fire burns, it can cause objects from long ago to be uncovered. Cause, fire, effect, things are uncovered. As a result of the fire, scientists like to visit wildfire sites. So again, that's a result of that. That's an effect. Sometimes scientists find small things like rock flakes that were made when ancient hunters sharpened arrowheads or beads made from shells. Sometimes they find larger things. And then here they'll talk about another cause and effect. There was a large fire near Los Angeles, and scientists found this gold mining camp. So the fire led to this effect. So again, lots of examples of cause and effect. All right, the very last thing that we're going to do for today is take a look at another quick article, this one about Ringling Brothers, the circus. And the title is Ringling Brothers Closes Down. And you can notice and do the pre-reading. We're kind of running short on time, so I'll let you do the pre-reading. We're going to look at one paragraph and one paragraph only, okay? And it shows cause and effect. So this is what it says. In January 2017, officials of Feld Entertainment, the company that owns the Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey Circus, announced that the circus would close in May. As to what could have killed the circus, there are many suspects. So we see the word "as," and that's leading us to believe that here are the causes for the closure of Ringling Brothers. Increased railroad costs made transporting the circus prohibitively expensive, meaning it's really expensive. So increased railroad costs is one cause of closing that circus. Animal rights activists protested the use of circus animals. There's another cause. But mostly the availability of Pokemon Go, other online games, and YouTube videos meant that the greatest show on earth didn't seem so great. So three causes led to that one effect. Railroad costs, animal rights activists, and then technology, essentially, led to the closure of Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey Circus. So that's one example of a cause and effect paragraph. There are many, many others. So as you're reading, watch for those keywords, things that will show us that there's a cause and effect happening. All right, homework for this article. You will see that this article, I like it because it's going to practice sequencing, and it's also going to practice cause and effect. So the question asks us, describe the history of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum & Bailey Circus, including information about when the circus closed and what led to its end. Use facts and details from the article in your response. So first, describe the history. That's a sequence question. And then why or when it closed and why it closed. So there's your cause and effect question. As always, be aware of doing the activity. So that's the quiz that goes along with this article. So to summarize, you are going to watch this video, hopefully, taking a look at cause and effect and also sequencing. You're going to read these two articles, Ringling Closes Down and Young, Alone, and Leaving Home. Do both quizzes and do both thought questions. One other assignment that I'm going to add on to this is just to review what you've already done. I want you to choose a note-taking method that you liked, whether it was Cornell notes, whether it was outlining, whether it was SQ3R. I want you to go and show me evidence of additional note-taking. So you can take notes on an article from Achieve 3000, or you could take notes from your textbook. It really doesn't matter. So you essentially have three assignments. 2 articles, read and do the activities, which would be the quizzes, do the thought questions for both of those, and then submit an example of note-taking from either your textbook or an additional article. The article assignment still stands, so keep working on those. You need to get to 30 by the time we finish this semester, which is in 3 short weeks. So it will be coming really, really quickly. So I look forward to seeing some of you in a Zoom meeting. If you haven't signed up, please refer to that email as soon as possible. Have a great day.